Hello friends and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to talk about where I'm at with my investigation into moving to one of the Hawaiian Islands. So this all started for me back in November. I spent a week in Oahu, and when I got there, within a very short time of getting off the plane, I absolutely felt incredible. And it's kind of hard to describe exactly what that means, but I'm going to try. So, number one, I was the warmth that I felt when I was there was absolutely incredible. I'm not a cold weather person. I really am learning that more and more. And I think part of that has been through this process and this journey of healing that I've been on the last couple of years. Part of that has been connecting the body and the mind, and the subconscious and the conscious. And I have been a person that most of my life, I have been very connected to my body. Connected to my brain. Very analytical, very driven, very business oriented, very masculine energy. And part of my healing process has been connecting to my body. I've been able to do a lot of that through yoga, therapy, and just gaining an awareness of what that even means. So I will do some other videos about that in the future, but let me just get back to my story. So being on the North Shore of Oahu for a week was really incredible for me, and for a variety of reasons. Number one, I was able to disconnect from work like I have not been able to do for a really long time. I've spent the last couple of years working really hard, getting ahead, trying to get my work to a place where it was a little bit more on autopilot, so to speak. So now I have done that. There's still a lot of work to do every day. However, I have a lot more flexibility, and so that's allowed me to take the trip to Oahu for a week. Of course, I still take phone calls here and there. It's hard for me to detach totally, but that was probably the most that I had detached in quite some time. In fact, I found it really hard to stay connected. So that's something that I'm going to have to see is, can I still work and be productive while living on one of the islands? So when I got back, before I left, I was talking to people quite a bit, and I felt so drawn to the island. And a lot of people that were there, that lived there, that were in the hotel, in the restaurants and things like that. I was curious, how long have you been here? How did you get here? And do you love it? And would you do it again? And there weren't many people at all who said everyone was so happy with their decision. I was amazed at the number of people who had made the decision to pack up before never even visiting any of the islands, just packing up, taking a one-way plane flight and never looking back, and not one person regretted it. The only person that I talked to that had, some opinions about some of the different islands was a man who had been on the Oahu Island for about 5 months, and he had lived on the Big Island for about 5 years, but he said the Big Island was where he felt was the place to be. So I do intend to check out that island as well. So anyway, I got back, couldn't stop thinking about it. It was the end of November, the beginning of December came, the holidays, which I'm not a big fan of, came, and I had made the decision. I felt as though it was such an overwhelming feeling of, that is a place that I need to be, and I need to fully investigate this, or I'm cheating myself. So I decided in December to give this gift to myself of being able to fully investigate it. I got online, I started researching things, I found out a lot of information, and this platform here on YouTube is a fantastic platform for investigating that. A lot of people have shared their journeys after they've done so. And I'm kind of sharing my journey as I go along here, and I'll continue to do so. So I'm excited to share this with you guys. But so here's where I'm at. It's January 4th, Friday. I have booked a one-way flight that leaves on Monday. And I have 11 nights in Kihei, Maui. So I've decided to go to Maui. I was in Maui about 20 years ago for my brother's wedding. And I remember having the same feeling that I did when I was in Oahu. I was overcome with a sense of peace, a sense of joy, a sense that it's hard for me to explain, but I just felt more calm, more connected to my body, more connected to God, and than I ever had. All of a sudden, things really didn't matter. I feel so drawn that if I have to live in a very small little place, I don't care. I'm at a place where stuff doesn't really matter to me anymore. I just want to be able to have that feeling that I had when I was in Oahu in November. So I have decided that I'm going to fully investigate this. I land in Maui on Monday the 7th. And I will be exploring the island. I have 11 days. Last minute, with sharing my my passion and my desires with a girlfriend, she said, who's going with you? And I said, no one. And she said, well, I'll go with you. So last minute, I do have a girlfriend that's going with me. She booked the flight. I have extra space in my condo. I have a condo in Kihei that I'm staying in for 11 nights. And I am going to I plan on hitting the ground running to investigate, to see if I can find a place to live, a roommate. I'm just going to take one day at a time and keep putting one foot in front of the other and see what happens. So that's my plan. I've booked a one-way flight. My aunt is flying. She's spending a month. My aunt and uncle are spending a month in Kona on the Big Island. She lands on the 15th. And so I have an opportunity to go over there as well if I can stay away from work that long. I still will be working every day with phone calls and facilitating emails and things like that, but most of my work can be done off site. So I'm lucky I can do that. I don't have any children. I'm not married. No pets. I'm not super close to my family that lives here. I am close to my sister and my brother too, but he has a pretty busy life. But I might, if this works out, my sister might have to join me at least some of the time. So I live in Northern California, so I can easily go back. It's a plane flight. I can use points to, and I figure that I probably will be returning for work and just to make an appearance and get things done in person once a month. That is now my plan. We'll see how it goes. But that's kind of the story. I have investigated a couple of things that I've done. I did get on Facebook and I found a couple of Facebook sites, groups that were about Maui, moving to Maui, Maui bound. And I joined those and people were really, really nice so far. So I know what I've learned is that there are, on any of the islands, there's pros and cons. I think Maui's going to be a good place for me because I need a little bit of a social life. I do want to be able to get out, and I think if I were, in a real solid committed relationship, that I would probably be okay with the Big Island. A lot of people say the Big Island is a great place to be, but I've done a lot of reading and watching videos and everything online, so I plan on spending some time in Maui. We'll see how that goes. I think there's a little bit more of a social life, and I have reached out to probably half a dozen people who have, through Craigslist, who have a place to rent, either looking for a roommate or they have a home or a condo to rent, and I have not gotten one response back. So what I've learned is that people on the islands do not really want to communicate with people on the mainland about renting a place because apparently there's a lot of flakiness surrounding that. There's also a lot of people who don't particularly like the idea of any more people moving to the islands. So I am aware of that. I'm going to see how that goes. And let's see, what else can I tell you guys? I'm just so excited to get out of the cold. It is not sub-zero temperatures here, but I am so ready to be in a warm weather environment. I think as I get older, I just have a lower tolerance for the cold. I love the way I feel in my body when I'm warm. So I don't know what to say about that. And I do think that there's an energy in the islands that's kind of unexplainable. The nature, the beauty, just something when you have fewer attachments to things, I think it's easier to connect and find joy. And so I am so ready to make 2019 a year about at least investigating this and seeing if it's possible, to see if I like being in the islands longer term. So I'll keep you guys posted, and we'll track this journey as it goes, and I'll let you know how it's going. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. I'll post again about this next week. Talk to you soon.